We are only a few weeks away from the end of Amphibia, and I could not be any more psyched to see how one of my favorite animated series of the last 3 years finally ends. Although this week's episode appears to be the calm before the storm, we can actually consider the next 3 weeks to be the finale event. As Matt Brawley has stated on Twitter, the final battle really kicks off in next week's episode, The Beginning of the End, which is paired with another episode called 3 Armies, with the beginning of the end running a little longer than the usual 11-minute episode. The following week will then be All In, a 48-minute episode that seems to be the main course of the final battle, with the description, Anne and her friends fight for their lives as the fate of both worlds hang in the balance. And then, on May 14th, we have the extended length series finale, clocking in at 29 minutes without commercials, the hardest thing, where Anne's journey finally comes to an end. With there being so much ground to cover, this video is going to be your checklist for everything we can expect to see pop up during this battle for the multiverse. From Sasha and Marcy getting their cool anime powers, to the likelihood of someone we love dearly kicking the bucket, and to stay in the loop with all things Amphibia. Please be sure to throw this video a like and subscribe to the Roundtable with notifications on so you never miss a video. It really helps us out in the algorithm. And this video is brought to you by Toon Drip. Check out our latest Owl House inspired design in the link below. When these past few episodes of the show haven't revolved around seeking out Olms to learn about ancient prophecy or the villain's tragic origin story, we've seen the Planters embark on quests to recruit members for the Resistance to finally take down King Andrias. So first things first, let's do roll call. Running through everyone we can expect to pop up in this final fight as an ally to the Resistance. Of course, we have everyone in Wartwood, the OG members of the Resistance, including Loggle, Wally, Mrs. Croker, Maddie, and so many other familiar faces. Because of King Andrias, frogs have been living under extreme oppression for years, and this war really brings everything full circle. Season 1 not only explored how Anne was growing from her time in Wartwood, but how Wartwood was learning from Anne as well, recognizing their strengths and value, accumulating in everyone standing up to the Toads in Reunion. Now, they get to stand alongside the rest of Amphibia as everyone fights for a better future, free of tyrants. Speaking of Toads, their involvement in the war is poised to be rather complex, as they're driven by their own desire for a better life. But that doesn't mean they're looking out for the frogs. Their attempt at a coup is a plot thread that wasn't resolved in true colors, and their relationship with the frogs is reasonably strained after losing one of the Toad Towers at the hands of Wartwood. From their own perspective, the Toads have every reason to act in their best interest and their best interest alone. It's up to Grime, Sprig, and Beatrix to unite the frogs and Toads together in a meaningful way, compromising with both of their needs and figuring out reform after they defeat Andrias. A new system that'll create true equality between all parties. And while we're talking about the Toads, I'm hoping Percy and Braddock will pop up during these final episodes and reconcile with Sasha. I think there's a pretty good chance. But we can't forget about the Newts, which I'm very curious on seeing the reactions towards Andrias' true nature as a tyrant and what their stake will be in saving the multiverse. The Newts had it good, living comfortably in Utopia, pampered compared to the frogs and Toads. Most characters who live that way of life are now fending for themselves in Amphibia's apocalyptic state. However, I think it'll be hard for them to cooperate with the frogs and Toads because for the Newts, fighting for and reforming Amphibia means forfeiting their position in its hierarchy. They'll no longer be considered elites. Something I think will be tackled in the episode 3 Armies, as according to its synopsis, Anne and Sasha must convince the frogs, Newts, and Toads to work together. Also, apparently Mother Oma's gonna return here. Nice! I'm hoping the Newts involved in this battle will include Priscilla the Killer, though the priority is definitely seeing Olivia and Union again, as their fates have been kept up in the air since their self-titled episode. I imagine they're either imprisoned or under the control of Andrias' spores, which could lead to something crazy like a potential Sasha versus Union rematch. Either way, expect to see those two again. After the amphibians, we have the humans back on Earth, whose appearance during the final battle feels like an inevitability, especially with the mention of both worlds in the episode synopsis. Episodes like Temple Frogs and Escape to Amphibia highlighted the different ways humans are capable of fighting back against Andrias' forces, thinking quickly on their feet, and all around making the best of their resources. Hey, forces, resources, that kind of rhymed. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Anyways, the last we saw of the Earthlings, Anne's parents were about to be interrogated by Mr. X, only for them to flip the script on him. I actually imagine that Anne's parents will explain everything to the FBI and convince them to prepare for the invasion. Maybe not just protecting their own home, but bringing the fight to Andrias' doorstep alongside the amphibians. There's no reason for the FBI to remain skeptical of Anne or the planters now that they had a government brawl with a giant praying mantis. So assuming where we left off with the humans, the Boon Choice will let them in on everything that's happened, something that I think could also lead to the proper introduction of Sasha and Marcy's parents. The FBI can easily link Anne, Sasha, and Marcy's disappearances to Amphibia, corroborated by Anne's letters to the Waybrights and Woos. Thanks to Terry, they also have a broken portal they can work with. Although the portal only operated at full power once Anne tapped into her Calamity mode, using herself as a battery. Nevertheless, I expect all the homies who were in Escape to Amphibia to show up, especially as Allie and Jess still owe Frobo an upgrade, which I'm hoping Frobo gets a new body made out of various parts of other robots that are defeated during this war. It'd also be nice to see Robert Otto again, using a new severed robot arm to kick butt and take names. There should still be an extra lying around in the museum. With the major players accounted for, let's touch on the major plot beats that are in store for this finale. Starting with Darcy, the hive mind of the core within the body of Marcy Wu, with Marcy said to be locked away within the subconscious. I know a lot of people wanted more Darcy screen time than what we're gonna end up getting, as Sasha and Anne won't likely encounter them until this final battle, but the objective seems simple. Use Marcy's fond memories of her friends to liberate her from the core, and re-establish her connection to the Green Stone. Now, I do think it would be interesting for Darcy to deceive Anne and Sasha, make them think Marcy's back, solely to get their hands on the Calamity Power, and then Anne and Sasha have to battle Darcy in a big Dragon Ball Z encounter. But either way, I'm excited to see what the core is really capable of. We have unanswered questions on Leaf that I'm sure will be explored in the finale, such as her connection to the Planter family, her time on Earth, and if she died on Earth or returned to Amphibia in secret. There's also the matter of Andrias and how his own arc is going to be brought to an end. There's been an undeniable build-up toward him having a change of heart at the last minute, no longer succumbing to the pressure from the core. But I think if that happens, it'll be done through a big sacrifice, making amends with Leaf and Beryl by surrendering his own life for the sake of Amphibia and the multiverse as a whole. Actually, with all the foreshadowing around Hop Pop's death, also through means of a sacrifice, and Grime having to confront his own purpose, no longer serving as a commander, I wonder if all three of these elders may go out in a blaze of glory together. A frog, a toad, and a newt all giving up their lives to secure the future. It's also possible that once Marcy is freed from the core, Andrias will become the new vessel for the hive mind as a last resort. Instead of having a change of heart, his desperation for his father's approval may see him relinquish free will and spend his final moments as a puppet. Of course, we have Anne, Marcy, and Sasha all using their Calamity forms together for the first time. Mother Olm told Anne as long as she still has her power, she should be able to restore power to the others. I think this may actually be achieved through something that'll be a reference to Sonic 06. Yes, that game. It sounds wild, but hear me out. After being revived by the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 06, Sonic dramatically approaches Shadow and Silver, imbuing the two with overflowing chaos energy, triggering their own super states. Amphibia has been jam-packed with Sonic references, and this moment could be one of the biggest, which would be cosmically hilarious, solely because it's Sonic 06. But it gets crazier, as the final conflict in itself seems to be a hybrid of a Sonic reference and a Zelda reference, the Red Moon hurtling towards Amphibia, as seen in Leaf's vision. This calls to mind both Majora's Mask, the whole race against time before this moon rocks our shit thing, and Sonic Adventure 2. But why SA2? Well, that game ends with Super Sonic and Super Shadow using Chaos Control to transport the Space Colony Ark away from Earth as it's on a collision course. So I assume this potential reference to Sonic 06 will evolve into a situation that serves as an homage to one of the most iconic moments in gaming history. And Sasha and Marcy using their Calamity powers to transport the moon far away from Amphibia. Or at least back to like where it was before, so you know, gravitational pull doesn't fuck everything up. What ramifications for this decision awaits them, we'll just have to wait and see. But hey, Anne loses an arm, theorist. If I tried to push back the moon, I'd probably lose an arm, even with like crazy superpowers. So maybe you'll get this one, who knows? Last but not least, there's the big question for after the battle that I believe will be tackled in the hardest thing. Will Anne, Sasha, and Marcy maintain their friendship once they return to Earth? Obviously, being geared towards kids and wanting to end on a happy note, it would make sense for Amphibia if the girls do reconcile, but personally, I feel like there should be lasting consequences to Sasha and Marcy's deception. Granted, karma really got both of them good already, but still, I think an ending where they initially take some space from each other, and then we have a time skip that shows that they do eventually reconcile, would be way more fitting than just having everything be forgiven. But that's just me, and I want to know what you guys think. What else do you think should pop up in this final battle? Was there anything we missed? Let us know in the comments down below, or keep the conversation going at Vox and at Roundtable Vids on both Twitter and Instagram. Be sure to follow. Check out Toon Drip, and if you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. See ya!